All right, 80s Revolution fans, thanks for checking out part 2 of my wrestling figure extravaganza collection review. Part 1, we talked about some neat little accessory items and some fun little non-wrestling figure related items. We're going to continue along with that now. So, I have a whole stack here of WWF Memo Pads. Again, bringing the opportunity to bring wrestling to school as a kid was huge. I mean, back then, and I don't know how it is today. My kids aren't in school, so I don't know what it's like to, be interested in something and be able to bring it to school without, being judged or anything like that. But back in first, second, third grade, if you were interested in something, you brought it to school. You displayed it in one way or another. And, back in Catholic school, I didn't have the opportunity to wear, my favorite Hulk Hogan t-shirt. We had uniforms. So we had to show our interests in things in other ways. And for some kids, it was a lunchbox. I mean, that was really kind of like you showed the world what you were interested in if it was on your lunchbox. But you had lunchboxes, you had backpacks, book bags that had your area of interest on it, whether it's He-Man or G.I. Joe or wrestling. You had pen and pencil bags, you had folders, you had really, bright graphic folders, notebooks, and these little things, the WWF Memo Pads. Again, what a great way to be able to bring your hobby or your love to school and show it off, because there was nothing more popular than the WWF in 1985. And so if you brought these bad boys to school, there was a gathering of kids around your desk checking out who you had. And what a better way, to write your homework assignment down in the WWF notepad. This one is Junkyard Dog. I've got a stack of them. Randy Savage, the Hulkster. We've got Mr. Wonderful, and check out the price point. All right, still has the Lionel Kitty City. Oh, sorry, still has the Lionel Kitty City sticker on it. 49 cents. Okay, Hillbilly Jim. Another Hulk Hogan. We've got the Evil Iron Sheik, the Hero Andre the Giant, and of course the ultimate bad guy, Roddy Piper. Very cool opportunity to, again, bring your hobby to school. Let's see, what else do I want to grab? Okay, so these, again, another neat way to show off your hobby is to get these little clip-ons. Again, WWF capitalizing on its popularity, everything would sell. These are clip-ons. They clip on your shirt, and you can bring Hulk Hogan with you to school clipped onto your shirt. And of course, they have to have Andre the Giant as well. So we've got our Hulk Hogan Andre the Giant clip-on. Again, not from LJN, but utilizing the Wrestling Superstars logo. This is from HG Toys made in China. HG Toys was out of Long Beach, New York, apparently. 1985. Not much going on in the back. Just some very generic pencil drawings of the other clip-on available. The other one clip-on available. Well, why just sell individual packs when you can sell a 2-pack of clip-ons? So this is your Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant 2-pack clip-on. These, I think, well, they could clip on your shirt, but I think they could also, unless they made these separately, but I think they could also clip on the zipper of your jacket, and they could kind of be like zipper pulls. But here's your 2-pack of Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan clip-ons. Price point on that was $3.37 from Toys R Us. Pretty cool. I love getting stuff that still has price tags on it. I think it's so cool. Really just sort of takes you back in your mind of, this piece of paper was stuck on, I don't know, whatever. Okay, we'll do some puzzles. Again, capitalizing on the market. These are 250 piece MB puzzles. I don't know if MB is Milton. Oh no. I don't know if MB is Milton Bradley. Oh, it is. Yeah. So these are made by Milton Bradley. Puzzles. I think puzzles were popular back in the 80s. Maybe they're still popular now, but they capitalized on the WWF. Made some puzzles. We've got a couple more. We've got Hulk Hogan in action. That's actually Don Morocco that he's giving the super headlock to. We've got the Captain Lou Albano puzzle, which is sealed still, actually. Yeah, this has not been opened. And we've got the Good Guys puzzle. Little 4-pack there, or foursome of the Good Guys. All right, I'm running out of room to put stuff. We've got, also from Milton Bradley, the WWF capitalizing on board game popularity. This is the Wrestling Superstars board game. No idea how to play. I really can't, it's really kind of strange that we had so many board games as kids that we never really knew how to play, or we never really played. I mean, we played Monopoly, you played like Sorry, and I don't know, like Scrabble, maybe not even Scrabble, but, Battleship, things like that. But when it came, I didn't play hardly any of the board games that I would get. So, to this day, I have no idea how to play the Hulk, the Wrestling Superstars game. But it's pretty cool. You can take a look at the idea of it on the back. You had players' cards and, cardboard standees, and I don't know, I'm sure you rolled dice and drew cards and somehow, but that's the Wrestling Superstars game from Milton Bradley. Backing myself into a corner here. Here's a couple of giant 16-inch figures. I don't know, wrestling figures. These were by LJN, and they came in just a huge, awesome package display box. They only made two, Hulk Hogan and Roddy Piper. Really just display pieces. I don't know if any kids played with these. You only had two guys, but the detail is pretty great. I mean, cloth shirt, really cool championship belt for the Hulk, and Roddy Piper had his, cloth kilt and this really cool belt, kind of like this Scottish, I don't know what this bag is, but it's kind of a Scottish thing, obviously. Another cloth shirt, just really good looking 16-inch figures that you really didn't do much with, except maybe, set them on a shelf. But those are pretty good. I don't have the boxes for those, but they're really nice looking boxes if you see them. All right. Couple other things. Again, capitalizing on the popularity of trading cards. WWF put out their own set of trading cards, and they were from Topps. And I don't know how many there were. This is definitely not a complete set, but you've got, wrestling trading cards, which were very, just like any baseball card of the time, any baseball card produced by any company, Topps, Upper Deck, Score, Fleer, really had great pictures and a neat little, something to read on the back. Whether it was, when you're used to baseball cards, you're used to like stats on the back, and so some of these, like the Big John Stud card, had his stats on the back, whether it was height and weight, where he was from, little blurb about him. But again, amazing to have, awesome to see in a store, collecting them like crazy, trading with your friends, the got 'em, need 'em thing of baseball card trading of the past. But just again, another way to show your interest in your sport, in your hobby, in wrestling. They really made it easy for us to spend, or for our parents to spend a lot of money and collect a lot of stuff. I have 2 lunchboxes to show you. This is a lunchbox that I actually had and you know, would bring to school with me. So this is just your standard WWF lunchbox. We got Hulk Hogan, Ricky Steamboat, and Roddy Piper. This one does not have a thermos, but I mean, what else says 80s? I mean, there are certain things that really scream childhood and 80s, but a lunchbox really, I mean, if you hold one of these things, if you take a look at one of these things, you really take a trip back in time to, you know, I don't know, carrying this thing on the bus in the morning. Of course, people looking at it, or I'm just sitting in the seat staring at this thing. And then, of course, lunchtime, you know, sitting around the lunch table, cracking your lunchbox open, seeing what mom packed for you. Just great, simple, nostalgic times, man. Just really great. I was one of those kids that would occasionally get, sorry for the armpit shot there. Gotta hit the Brazilian wax, or the body waxer again. I was one of those kids that didn't always have milk in his thermos. I was always a very hungry kid, and so I would use my thermos for soup. And it's certainly, you know, the marketing lied to us. It did not stay piping hot all day, but there was often chicken and rings or chicken and stars soup in my thermos for lunch. This is the other one. Again, just a collection of wrestlers. This is actually one of the first WWF lunch boxes. Really early, you know, drawings and representations of characters. These are really early likenesses of Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant, Roddy Piper. This one does have the thermos, and again, what a neat, just a great thing. And this, again, look at this. You know, does that bring back memories? You know, of just popping that thing open, boom, drinking your milk, or pulling that lid off. Oh, man. I'm telling you guys, that just smells like, that just smells like 3rd grade. But check it out. This is what you'd do. You know, you'd have your chicken and stars, and you'd pour it in your cup, right? You get your spoon, or you'd drink your, just great stuff. I don't know. It's sad because, you know, I've got a 4-year-old and a 9-month-old, and, you know, my kid spends more time in my room down here than I do. I've probably got the only 4-year-old on the planet who, you know, knows what G.I. Joe is, knows who the Ghostbusters are, knows who the Thundercats are. And when he makes his Christmas list, he puts 80s toys on his Christmas list. He's the best kid in the world. But unfortunately, I can't, you know, send him off to school with my Hulk Hogan lunch pail. I don't know. So it's unfortunate that he's not going to be able to experience some of the innocence of childhood that I did. And, you know, now his interests are going to be judged probably from a pretty early age. I hate that. I'd like to keep him from that as much as I possibly can, but, you know, what can I do? Oh, there's a lot that I can do, but I won't get into that. All right. I don't know. I want to save the figures. Let's see what else I can find for you. I'm kind of cramped in. Oh, this is pretty neat. A couple of videos ago, I showed you the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles collector's case. Pretty much every action figure line of the 80s had one of these collector's cases. And I don't know anybody who ever stored their figures in these collector's cases. Well, the case is especially true for the LJN, or the Wrestling Superstars case. Okay? The figures didn't fit. The figures were 8 inches tall, and this is 6.5 inches or 7 inches. So you could never even fit the figures in there. You know, they just wouldn't go in there. And if you could shove them in there, it only holds 8. and there were about 70 figures. So I'm not sure who was using this to actually transport their figures. I wasn't, but nonetheless, it's a pretty awesome looking thing to have. This is actually, the artwork on here is actually designed from the Rock and Wrestling cartoon. So this is, Hulk Hogan, Big John Studd, Roddy Piper, and some of the guys inside. I don't know if I can hold it up for you, but Nikolai Volkov and Tito Santana and Junkyard Dog. These are all, cartoon representations from the 80s Rock and Wrestling cartoon. So that's pretty cool. I might stop with the accessories and get right into the figures. Let me stand up and see what else I can see. I'll show you this. Sorry if I'm kind of just standing up in the camera, but one of the last things I'll show you tonight is this neat little thing. It's a Hulk Hogan watch. Again, showing the Wrestling Superstars logo, but not by LJN. This is from a watch company called Pro Sport. And it's a digital watch. It's a digital 5-function quartz watch, of course, with Hulk Hogan, everybody's hero, on the watch. Nothing really on the back except some watch details. But they also had watches, and these are from 1985. They also had watches of Coco Beware, Randy Savage, Jake the Snake Roberts, Ricky Steamboat, and Elizabeth, who was Randy Savage's manager and wife. Both deceased, sadly, now. And we'll get into that, too. But anyway, before I go on with that, check that out. Pretty neat. But we'll go into, as I kind of talk about the figures. Obviously, time really doesn't wait for anybody, doesn't stop for anybody, and people die. That's, comes with the package. But it's getting harder and harder and more surreal for me to realize that many of the heroes and icons, characters that I grew up with are dead. Many. And so when we go through the collection of figures, I'll give you an exact number when we go through them, but guessing right now, having not counted in a while, I would guess 20 or more, slightly more, 22 characters are dead. They're not with us anymore. So it's just strange to look back on some tapes or some DVDs that I have and watch these guys and just remember the connection that I had with them as a kid, these larger than life characters, and realize that they're not here anymore. So kind of puts things into perspective, makes you look at your own age, your own mortality, and things like that. But not gonna end this on a bummer note. What else can I show you to kind of brighten up the mood a little bit before we wrap it up? No, nothing. Yeah, nothing at all. We're going to stop now, and part 3, we will get into the figures. Again, I've got some bendable figures. I've got some thumb wrestlers to show you. And when I get into the actual figures, we've got the carded figures, we've got the loose figures, and we have the great tag team 2-pack figures that I will show you. We'll also talk about a very expensive 2-pack that I did have at one time recently, and for some ridiculous reason sold it. I'll tell you that story with regret. But again, I hope you're enjoying this. This was part 2 of the wrestling figure collection. Now comes the main event. We're going to get into the actual figure portion of that. I might make you wait. I might just put up 2 parts of this and come back next week and hit up the figures. I'm also doing a little bit of a pickup video. I started collecting Blu-rays all of 3 months ago, guys. And because I'm a collecting lunatic, once I get my hooks into something, I kind of go crazy with it for a little while. So after 3 months of collecting Blu-rays, I have reached the 100 Blu-ray milestone, and so I'll be doing a 100 Blu-ray milestone pickup video, and we'll go through the 8 or 9 pickups that I've gotten since the last pickup, and you'll see that I've reached 100 Blu-rays at this point. I know that's nothing in comparison to others, but I've only been doing this for 3 months, and I've got 100, so the sickness has set in. Thank you all for tuning into part 2, part 3, and possibly part 4 coming up soon. Again, thank you all very much for watching. I will see you next time. Take care.